20 years ago, aliens invaded our planet determined to force us into extinction. Thankfully, we had Jeff Goldblum, Will Smith, and President Bill Pullman there to upload a computer virus on alien Wi-Fi and save us all. This is a guilty pleasure we all love, and the time has come to retell the story. That's right. This time we're going to kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy. We're going to remake Independence Day right. Hello, my fellow cinematic architects, and welcome to Remake This Movie Right. We are a member of the Hollywood Outsider Network. Listen to episodes of Remake This Movie Right on iTunes, where reviews are definitely appreciated. Please leave one if you're a fan, your podcast app of choice, or just visit the website at remakethismovieright.com. Remake This Movie Right is a show that takes an original film that has an actual remake in the works, usually, figure out what still clicks and what doesn't, throw a little bit of humor at it, and then we try to determine exactly how Hollywood should remake it. So by the end of every episode, by the end of this episode, we will have the remake ready to roll for Hollywood execs and present it to you in movie trailer form. We are here to tell Hollywood how to remake this movie right. I am your host, Aaron Peterson, and joining me today, you heard him recently on our Twister, Stephen King's It, and Last Starfighter episodes. He currently hosts the Blacklist Exposed and Packers Fan Podcast, and I think he'd make a good fill-in for Jeff Goldblum. Troy Heinrichs?
Is this the one I finally get to talk about space?
You do, and it'll actually make sense this time, for once. And you also heard him on our Last Starfighter episode, as well as Top Gun and the infamously never-ending story that got a little too creepy. He's a host of the Gaming Outsider, and I think would be a great Bill Pullman if Pullman's head were like twice as big. Scott Clark!
Wait a minute, I don't get Will Smith? I get Bill Pullman?
You don't get Will Smith, no. There's nobody talking in this general vicinity that would ever get Will Smith in this era of his career.
You know how I like to make an entrance.
Yeah, nope. Mm-mm. Troy, you want to take a vote?
No.
Yeah. I mean, he was one of a kind at this time. Well, for this episode of Remake This Movie Right, we are tasked with remaking one of all three of our favorite films, Independence Day. Why are we taking on a movie whose decades in the making sequel will be released just days from the time you hear this episode? Why not? That's a better question. So that's what we're going.
We can do it better first.
Exactly. And honestly, the trailer kind of looks like a remake of it anyway, so it works. It fits. Plus, just as an honor of Independence Day, and it's a movie we love, and we'd like to see how would we bring it into the modern era if there wasn't this sequel on the way. So what is Independence Day, in case you've never seen it, in case you're one of the four? Well, it centers around mysterious alien spaceships that randomly show up throughout the world, hovering over major cities. After initially believing the aliens come here in peace, super smart David Levinson figures out what every other scientist in the world apparently cannot, that the aliens are actually here to destroy us. And after pretty much every major landmark is destroyed, David hooks up with the president and Captain Stephen Hiller, Will Smith in his groundbreaking performance, to coordinate a last-ditch effort to save our planet by uploading a computer virus and making one of those 1 in a million Star Wars shots. So, look, none of them really make sense, but this movie kicks ass. Do we all agree in that?
Oh,
yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is fun. Fun. So email us your thoughts on this week's show, casting ideas on your short pitch, or any other thoughts, or maybe if you have a remake you'd like to suggest, please do that. RemakeThisMovieRight@gmail.com. We might mention it on the next teaser episode. But we're going to get into the movie, but before we do that, let's play a clip from the original Independence Day.
Bitch. Ah! That's right! That's right! Get up! Get up! That's what you get! Look at you! Ship all banged up! Who's the man? Huh? Who's the man? Wait till I get another plane! I'm lining all your friends up right beside you! Where you at, huh? Where you at? Ah! Welcome to Earth.
That's right. He punched the alien and knocked him unconscious.
He's a big man. He's a large man, Aaron.
Did you see the size of that alien? Do you really think that one punch would have laid him out long enough to drag him all the way back to the base?
through his like helmet that was like his exoskeleton that was hiding the actual soft parts on the inside.
Oh my God. Okay, I got to ask before we get into what we love, what we don't love about the movie, and some trivia. I want to go round robin and ask you guys because this is kind of a movie that's near and dear to our hearts. Tell me when you first saw Independence Day and why you love it so much. Why you and just tell me.
Put the drink down, Aaron.
I'm not.
3-hour tour.
It's a long day. All right. Tell me about your first experience seeing Independence Day.
I actually did not see it in the theater.
Sacrilegious.
I know, and that's why I'm like, if this does actually make it to the theater in our area, I want to go see it in the theater because I had to wait for home viewing to watch it. But I watched this with my stepdad and my brother, and we just stared at the screen, just like this is the coolest thing I have ever seen. It was just so much fun for the entire movie. It just kind of like never lets up. It's just nonstop, hilarious lines. You mentioned earlier, Aaron, that was this really Will Smith's breakout role? Like,
yeah, I mean, he had done Bad Boys and he was in Fresh Prince, but this is the movie that made him a movie star. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I only really knew him from like Fresh Prince, and I didn't watch Bad Boys at that point. So this was like the first movie I saw him in, and I was just he's so charming, he's so funny, he's got the funniest, silliest lines. It was just nonstop action, and I don't want to go into specifics about what I liked it, but it was just an awesome experience because I was obsessed with it at that point. I was drawing ID4 logos on my papers at school, getting in trouble because I wasn't allowed to see it.
Wow.
And I was upset. I had the soundtrack. I would listen to it nonstop. Absolutely love this movie.
It's a great score, too, by the way. It is
Mm-hmm.
actually a great score. Troy, what about you? Did you see it in the theater or did you see it on VHS in your aunt's basement?
Oh, hell no. We went to the theater and I think we saw it 3 times opening weekend
Wow.
because it was the first time we actually had like a certified, I want to say it was better than THX for the first time or something like that, like a Dolby Cinema or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time that we got that type of theater in our area. So to just hear this movie, let alone see the movie, was something that you just will never forget, especially when that first blast hits the White House and just obliterates everything. It just rumbled through the theater like you've never heard before. It was awesome.
So
yeah, that was one of the first movies I watched when my dad brought home a nice sound system, which by today's standards is probably garbage. But I was,
it's probably like a little Bluetooth speaker now.
Oh yeah, it was, but at the time it was just awesome. And I remember my dad never cranked it. He'd always put it like at maybe half mast or something like that. And he had this one about well past 3/4, and we were just like, oh, this is so cool. It was awesome.
That is really cool. I remember I was a big V fan. You guys remember the show? Well, Scott, you probably don't, but
Well,
Troy.
there's 2 of them, isn't there?
Yeah, there
There's
is,
the
but I'm
original,
talking the
there's
80s.
the movie, and then there's the remake. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking the 80s had an original miniseries, then it had The Final Battle, and then it had the series. Well, V was about giant disc-shaped ships that showed up over major cities that contained aliens. Now, the only difference is they didn't blow up the Earth, but they had the same kind of plan. We're going to destroy your Earth and take all your resources.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, nobody sued over this. I can't believe that they didn't say, that's kind of our idea, because when I first saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, they made V the movie. What is Independence Day? And what's Bill Pullman doing in it? Yeah. So, but because I just love that concept and V was one of my favorite shows, I'm like, I got to go see what they do with it and this movie. And I went and saw it, and I had actually seen Bad Boys, I think, by that point. I think it was the same year. And I liked Will Smith because I was a big DJ Jazzy Jeff guy. I didn't really like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but I just like Will Smith, the person. And he just took me by storm. I mean, I was in awe of him. And I think when we walked out, everybody was emulating him, Welcome to Earth or Welcome to Earth. Which is...
No. I want to back up on that for just 1 second because I watched that movie this weekend.
Uh-huh.
I listened to it very, very closely.
He clearly says Earth.
He saes Earth. He
Yes,
does
he
not
does.
say Earth with an F.
All these years, people, was it like our buddy Justin, right? he's the first one to throw that one out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been making that joke forever, but he actually does clearly say Earth.
Clearly says Earth.
So
I feel like I've been lied to since we started this podcast.
but it's still funny. So I'm going to go with Welcome to Earth. Anyway, so walking out, I thought Will Smith, damn movie star. And Bill Pullman actually impressed me, and Bill Pullman has not genuinely impressed me. I've always kind of liked him, but he's never I would never look at him as the president or a leader. And I thought he did a great job. His speech was magnificent. And Jeff Goldblum, who I love, at that time, were there any other actors who had such a distinct personality like him? I can't think of many. I mean, he's such a unique talent that he just stands out in it, whatever he does. So walking in, I was like, I wanted to see the V-like spectacle. When I walked out, all I could think of were those guys. I just was blown away. I was amazed that a movie so dumb, because it is dumb, could be so magnificent. And it was.
Jeff Goldblum especially, like I feel like when they pitched this movie, they said we need to come up with a character to put Jeff Goldblum in it. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like that character was him. I think he was that character first, and they just figured out how to stick him in there because he was so quirky and weird and so entertaining to watch.
Oh man, he's just like must go faster. I'm like, are you really using Jurassic Park lines? He sure is. All right, well, how about a little bit of trivia? From the original? I've got some cool tidbits, I think. We'll find out. According to producer, co-writer Dean Devlin, the U.S. military had agreed to support the film by allowing the crew to film at military bases, consulting the actors who have military roles, etc. However, after learning of the Area 51 references in the script, they withdrew their support. And in the briefing room scene at Area 51, behind Hiller and Gray, there's actually a night vision pan of the base. And what you are seeing are actual shots of the real Area 51 taken by a conspiracy theorist from a place called Freedom Ridge. That ridge was commandeered by the U.S. government in the late 90s and is no longer accessible to the public. I'm thinking conspiracy. What do you think?
Small one.
Small one? What do you think, Troy? Do you believe it?
I believe in everything.
The truth is out there.
Truth is out there. All right. And these are via IMDb, so if any of them are incorrect, blame the internet. Don't blame me. Production designer Patrick Tatopoulos, I think I got it right, presented director Roland Emmerich with two concepts for the aliens. Emmerich liked both designs so much he came up with the idea to use one design as the actual alien and the other to be a biomechanical suit the aliens could wear.
Huh.
Both of those are used in the film. Pretty cool. Here's one about, I thought this was really cool. It holds the record for the most miniature model work to appear in one film. Model shop supervisor Michael Joyce estimated that more miniatures were used for this film than in any other two films combined. And due to the advances in digital technology, that record will probably stand forever. You guys don't seem thrilled. I think this one might get you. You ready?
Okay.
Jazz up. Get ready.
Bring it.
The character of President Whitmore was originally intended to be a Richard Nixon-like figure. The role was originally written for Kevin Spacey, who was Dean Devlin's friend from high school, and an executive at Fox refused to cast Kevin Spacey, insisting he didn't have potential to be a big star.
Whoa. Yeah, he's only playing the president now, so.
Yeah, like in House of Cards, one of the best shows on television. I hope that guy no longer has a job, the Fox guy.
But I think Spacey would have played it too serious. So I think they went with the right option because it's campy enough that you can pull it off with Pullman.
Yeah, I kind of have a hard time picturing Spacey in that role. Like he would be playing it too close to the vest a little bit. A little too presidential.
Yeah, he probably would. Still, I love the idea of Kevin Spacey being an Independence Day. Mr. Serious, two-time Academy Award winner.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yep,
Well, if he comes back in the alien spaceship, then he could be Prot from his K-Pax movie.
Oh, well. Nicely. Yeah. Nice.
And just bites off bananas the whole movie.
Exactly.
Along with Anatomy of a Murder, Glory, Crimson Tide, and The Dark Knight, this is one of only 4 films whose purely orchestral soundtracks won the Grammy Award for Best Score, despite not being nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Score.
Wait, what?
It won the Grammy for Best Score, but it wasn't even nominated for Best Original Score for the Academy
The
Awards.
Oscars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It is. Finally, I got one. Whew. I was wondering if you guys were ever going to bite on any of these. Jeez. The character of Dr. Oaken, portrayed by Brent Spiner, became like a fan favorite. Yeah, Data. There you go. Is based on Jeffrey A. Oaken, whatever.
Oaken.
Thank you. Digital effects supervisor on Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin's earlier sci-fi hit Stargate. They say it's an almost perfect representation of Oaken, right down to the hair and mannerisms.
Speaking of Stargate, did you know that Emmerich actually came up with the idea for the film when he was fielding a question when he was promoting Stargate in Europe about his belief in his current existence of alien life. And so when they actually thought about it, they said it takes aliens a long time to get to Earth, and then they never do anything. So that's how they kind of came up with the idea for the film.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think they just watched NBC in roughly 1983. But
I think Troy just went up to you in the interesting fact department.
yeah, thanks a lot. I didn't only spend some time trying to find these. Roland Emmerich admitted that during the movie's premiere at the White House, he gave his seat next to President Bill Clinton to Bill Pullman, fearing Clinton's reaction to the on-screen destruction of the White House.
That's weird.
That's just weird. I'm like, it's a movie, man. It's been in every trailer.
Hey, Bill,
Pretty
what
sure
do
he's
you
a
think,
smart
Bill?
guy and knows.
It's not. Wait, is that my house?
Is it because his name is also Bill?
Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? It's too close to him. It's too close.
Doesn't make any sense.
All right, last one. The visual effect of the giant alien ray gun exploding is simply the same footage of the Empire State Building exploding turned upside down. Yeah, another one? That's pretty cool, right? Another one, James Brown's distinctive scream was used as a sound effect for the alien energy beam backfiring as Russell's plane crashes into the giant alien weapon.
Get out of town.
That's what it says, man.
Get on up.
Yeah! I'm gonna kill myself. Good guy.
Yours.
I gotta go watch it again now.
Yeah. Wait, that's wrong. That's a rapper. Okay, let's go to what. That's better. What makes this movie so memorable? What makes it? Why do you love it? We know your experience. Now, why do you love it, Troy? Why do you love this movie so damn much?
Because all the stuff that happens in this movie could not possibly happen in real life, and how everybody is connected to each other is just that crazy. I can't believe that the geeky guy has got like the hot ex-wife who happens to be like working for the president, and then he got Vivica Fox is in this, and then she ends up helping the president's wife figure out how
it could happen. Strippers have a heart of gold.
It's all over the map, and for some reason it just works. And you're like, why does this work? And
yeah,
then
on
Will
paper
Smith,
it shouldn't.
I know it totally shouldn't. Will Smith dragging a alien across the desert. It's like, it's my weekend off. I'm not supposed to be at a barbecue.
And
it's like,
runs
you're
into
in the desert, dumbass.
Runs into a river of RVs in the desert.
Yeah, just cruising along for the fun of it, like it's a Harley motorcycle parade, but for RVs.
Why else do you love it, other than the random coincidences that?
Oh, just the audio production for this. I mean, we know that it won for visual effects at the Oscars, but it didn't win anything for sound. But the movie just sounds fantastic, and not even the one-liners that are in this movie that you could quote all day long. But just the fact that every explosion, every turn around the corner, the noises they have to make for the aliens and the alien spaceships. I mean, everything about the audio of this movie is just fantastic.
What about you, Scotty?
Oh, so many reasons. I mean, my 16-year-old brain watching this movie and seeing these giant spacecraft just bursting through the clouds, and how are they staying in the air, and how, it just my mind couldn't wrap my head around a lot of things happening in this movie, but it was awesome. And I've always been a big fan of, I mean, I love Top Gun, which is another one we talked about before. I love air combat. So seeing these F-14 Tomcats fighting against these alien spaceships, shooting laser beams, and the planes are shooting bullets. And it was like everything you wanted when you're a teenager. It was just enormously a good time from beginning to end. And it was hilarious. You don't expect to laugh that much in an action movie, at least at that time. And everything just worked. Like Troy said, it doesn't make any sense. If you had read the script, it wouldn't make any sense, and they somehow pulled it off and made it work, and it just was loads and loads of fun.
Yeah, I said not too long ago, it's a dumb movie. And I don't mean that as an insult. There's a lot of movies that are a lot of fun that are not very smart. This movie makes no sense. If you really break it down, like Troy said, really the pieces just start falling away. But for whatever reason, they have a impeccable cast. They have actors that just bought into whatever they were selling, and they make this movie work. Everything works. The special effects 20 years ago, today, still hold up. I just watched this movie. Actually, I watched it twice within the last week because I watched
it twice last week too.
Yeah, right. Watched it because of the podcast. I'm like, because we always rewatch it before we do the podcast. And then I was like, man, I really kind of want to watch it again. Because the first time I'm just kind of taking notes and what do I like, what I don't like. And then I just want to watch it and have fun with it.
Well, what's happened with me is I was in Seattle and it happened to be randomly on TV. I'm like, well, I had to watch this anyway for the podcast. So I'm going to watch it. And then I got home and I was like, man, I kind of want to watch it again. And I want to be able to take some notes this time. So, and I wound up not being able to take notes because I wanted to watch it.
It's that good.
It really is.
Everybody's so good. Will Smith, I already talked about that, but man, it's so dumb, but it still works. Everything about it is dumb. I was sitting there and I'm like, none of this stuff makes sense. I said the same thing Troy did. I'm like, really? The stripper just found the car that worked, that drove and found the president's wife, whose helicopter, she's the only one that survived. I mean, it's just like so many things would have to happen for all this stuff to work out. And I just didn't care. It was just fun.
There was a Saturday Night Live skit that was on when this movie came out. I remember this specifically because I wanted to see the movie so bad. Mm-hmm. And they were interviewing, it was Bill Clinton was the president at the time, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they were interviewing him about if he had seen the movie, and they're asking him what his favorite part was, and he's like, the helicopter crash.
Wow.
I was like, holy cow.
Ouch. That one leaves a mark. That one leaves a mark. Scott, you're a big disaster fan buff, right? You love disaster movies.
Yeah.
And usually they have multiple characters and multiple situations going through whatever the disaster is, which is what they kind of have here, right?
Sure. A lot of them are in different cities.
Yeah, for a big portion of the movie. But I never got confused. I always knew who was who. I always knew what was going on. I mean, it's just, they kept everything so simple. They didn't make it super complicated, and it was super easy to follow. Now, I know that also goes with dumb, but it's also, if you're watching a movie and you just want to have fun with it, that is the perfect recipe to enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the characters are so distinct, too. I mean, You've got the presidential sector, so to speak, the prim and proper, and they're dealing with all this. You've got Russell Case, who's a drunk crop duster. I mean, everybody just stands out completely different. You've got Stephen Hillard, who's like this upstanding military guy. You never have any confusion as to where you are when it flips over.
Yeah, I had a buddy, I was telling him I was watching this. He's like, well, that's got one of Randy Quaid's best performances. I'm like, doesn't he have like two?
that in the vacation movies?
The vacation movies. It's like everything else, he's been in jail. I don't know what you're talking about.
Have you seen him lately, by the way?
No. I'm a Dennis Quaid fan. I feel bad for his family. That's what I do.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, he looks like he hasn't stopped drinking since this movie.
Oh, like he is this character now?
Yeah.
Oh, poor guy. Well, what doesn't work for you anymore? Scott, could you think of anything that didn't work while you watched it?
You got some time?
Sure, go for it.
I mean, there's so many things. I mean, the big one that stood out for me, I know you mentioned the special effects were really good, and I do agree with you. A lot of them do hold up, but there are a couple here and there that really made me go a little bit, especially when there were explosions with fire, not big explosions, but the real smaller explosions.
Yep.
The scene in particular that I'm talking about is when Vivica Fox's character is in the subway tunnel with her son, and they're trying to rescue the dog and get him to jump back into this room, which apparently is fireproof.
No, it's giant bomb proof.
But anyway, that's beside the point. But when that dog jumps through there and you see the flame go past him, it looks like this dog is being lifted through the door on strings. It looks really, really bad.
He's a doggy marionette.
It really does look like that. It's like he's like this weird speed that he moves. It doesn't make any sense. Man, I got so
motion dog jump scene. It was so funny.
This bothered me even when I was a kid watching this. When they decide they're going to go communicate with the aliens. Mm-hmm. So their way to communicate with the aliens is to send helicopters out with these flashing lights that are just like doing weird patterns.
Yeah, I think they were going like a Close Encounters thing or something. I'm
like, it's totally an homage.
Yeah.
That's fun, but does it make any sense?
Sure doesn't.
They obviously, I mean, you're assuming that, does that mean we come in peace? Is that like sign language for we come in peace or something? Or Braille? Or
Braille, it's air Braille. The thing that cracked me up is I'm watching it going, okay, granted, I understand there's a lot of dumb people in the world, but wouldn't everybody run like hell out of that city? Like everybody would be gone. There wouldn't be still some people sticking around.
Well, there are some crazy people.
Well, there are some crazy, but it looked like a lot of people were sticking around.
Yeah.
And I just think everybody, like the president refers to, I should have sent everybody out, or I should have evacuated the cities. I'm like, I think they would have evacuated themselves, man. There's a giant warship overhead. That would scare the piss out of me.
Totally. You mentioned it earlier about the character of David. You know, nerdy guy has a hot ex-wife, whatever. This crisis is going on.
That's twice you mentioned the hot. I think you got a little thing for.
No, that was Troy the first time.
Oh, no, I think you mentioned it the first time, but
did I?
Let's look at the tape.
Maybe subconsciously. There's this crisis going on. Giant, mile-wide spaceships are floating over the city. Everybody's in panic. The White House is in a mess. And David shows up with his phone to track her in the White House and says, "Hey, I'm here," and waves at her, and they're just let him in. Him and his dad, just because he used to date the
and he
the
waits
president's assistant.
He waits in the Oval Office, right? I mean, isn't that where
just like in the Oval Office, just hangs out. Like, sure, they have a history together, and whatnot, but like, there's no way in a time of crisis they're just going to let a dude and his dad hang out in the Oval Office by themselves.
And look at his pens, fondle his pens, whatever he was doing.
See, they have one of those little pens they give away.
Any other ones?
Have this movie memorized.
Yeah.
This one's less funny, but Jimmy's death, the character played by not Robert Downey Jr. Oh man, what's his name? The jazz pianist.
Harry Connick Jr.
Connick Jr. Thank you. It's 3 names.
Big difference. Huge difference. Yeah.
His death just seemed completely unnecessary to me. Why did he have to die? It was like he's like a trained military pilot. And he just decides that he's going to bank at a super high speed to evade this thing or what? I'm going to try something. What was he trying?
An inverted dive or whatever. What is Top Gun? I forget what it's called. And
a 4G inverted dive with a MiG-28.
He was trying to do a 4G inverted dive with the MiG-28.
He wanted to give the alien the finger. He wanted to be Maverick.
Exactly.
The bird.
He was really looking for that great Polaroid. And no, but seriously, why did he have to die?
I don't know. Kick the tires and light the fires.
He was a likable character. Just felt like it was a forced, make you sad for a minute because then he's never brought back again.
Well, he's dead. What's he going to be brought back for?
No. I mean, he never. His only remorse is no.
Oh yeah,
that's it. You never say.
When he realizes, boy, that was a bad call.
Yeah. Oh, I had one other one. When David is showing everybody how he gave the spaceship a cold or a virus to get rid of the shield, and he asks the major to put a Coke can up on top of it to shoot it with his gun, and he fires it, and the shield is still there, and the bullet ricochets off everybody. Everybody freaks out, like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" That bullet still would have ricocheted, guys. If the shield weren't there, it would have hit the ship or it would have hit a wall. You're inside. That bullet's going. Why are you acting so surprised that this bullet is going all over the place?
The best part is that's Adam Baldwin, who plays the same character in most every movie or TV show he's in.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Except for Firefly. That's the only difference. What about you, Troy? What doesn't work for you?
The thing that really didn't work for me was the fact that we carjacked one ship, right, way back in the 50s. Mm-hmm. And from carjacking one ship, the entire alien armada decides to show up and somehow has the ability to coordinate the attack in order to be over every single major metropolitan city there is. It's like, where did they get their intel from?
Well, they're tapped into the satellites.
Yeah, they said that. They tapped into the satellites.
Yeah, but I mean, the time and space and, sending out this information, we could have changed major metropolitan areas numerous times. I'm just saying, it's a little far-fetched.
They are very smart, Troy, and they figured it out, is what I'm thinking. They just flew overhead and they're like, where's all the buildings? Right there. Let's go.
They only figured out how to speak English because they tapped into Data's brain. That's the only way.
God.
Get rid of their emotion chip.
Yep.
No, you could say that there's the dog thing and the explosion looks a little fake in the subway tunnel, but that's the stuff that just makes it fun because it's so hokey.
Oh yeah,
and
totally.
It just works that you just can't complain about it.
Isn't this like one of those movies that just rides that line? I mean, where it could be camp at any second, but still stays above that line just a little bit, just a hair.
Right?
Yeah.
It straddles it perfectly.
Yes, it
Starts
does.
right with the president, right?
Yep.
Getting up there. Good morning. Oh, PA's not on. Good morning.
I seriously have a belief, and I can't find this information anywhere. I seriously believe that was a blooper. And then he just went with a line, and then they just kept that. Because if you watch that scene, he does it, and it kind of looks like he genuinely looks surprised, and then does it and just delivers the line, and then they cut and they show the audience. I seriously believe that was a gaffe.
And they just left it in there because it was
and
funny.
They just left it in there because it was funny.
Maybe it's just acting. Scott. Maybe he's a powerhouse actor and he can fake surprise better than just about anybody you know.
How do you write that in there? Why would you write that in there?
Make a boo-boo. I don't know. Why do they do a lot of the stuff they do in here? My biggest pet peeve is the computer virus. I thought it was a little bit ridiculous.
You're just upset because it was a Mac computer and not a Windows computer.
God. Okay. Not only does he solve the problem, okay, fine. He figured out how I can upload a virus. He goes up to the ship, has no problem. Apparently they've got stable Wi-Fi in the mothership. They don't have a security key. Nothing. There's no key. So he could just use their Wi-Fi, tap into their network, upload the virus. Not a problem. I mean, it's just everything about it. Everything would have to work so ridiculously, insanely perfect for that plan to even come close to working. It just boggled my mind.
I have trouble syncing my iPhone sometimes. And I'm plugging it into a Mac. Hardline.
I
no
remember
Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth. Just
You're syncing it wrong.
Yeah, probably.
Stop, fanboy.
I remember the time when I first saw it, and I don't remember who I was with, but I was like, man, that makes no sense, and I just didn't care. I'm like, you know what? I don't care. It was still fun as hell, and I want to see it again right now. Man, whew. Okay. Well, now my question is, should this movie even be remade? I mean, I know we got a sequel, but this is called Remake This Movie Right. So should this movie be remade, Troy?
I absolutely love this movie, so I say
I take you just the way you are.
Well played.
All right, Scott.
it does not need to be remade.
It
It is fine, and I don't even know how we're going to remake it tonight because I have no ideas because it just works the way it does.
Oh, I'm ready. Scott?
I feel exactly the same.
Yeah,
I agree with Billy Joel. We mentioned Top Gun earlier. That movie is a similar one where it has a bit of cheese, but to me, that's part of the charm of this movie. That's what makes it fun, is how cheesy it is. And it's not a cheesy in a, this is so bad it's good. It's just, it works. It has this formula that just happened to work somehow. If the cheese weren't in it, I think I would like the movie less, honestly.
Really? So
Yeah.
it's just like a thing that just magically worked. It was just a miracle that it worked the first time.
Just this combination of perfect time in my life and everything. It was just, I love it. I wouldn't change a single thing about it. Exactly the way it is. It should not be remade.
A whole lot of love.
Yeah.
And all you need is love. John Lennon, smart man, shot in the back.
Very sad.
Very sad.
Well done.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, I agree. It's just one that shouldn't be remade. And the thing I am shocked about is that the last couple of years, they have been doing these sequels for movies that didn't need sequels, like Zoolander 2 and Anchorman 2. I don't care what anybody says. It didn't work, the whole movie. Dumb and Dumber 2. I mean, there's a lot of movies that are cranking out sequels to movies that are old. This is the first one where I can genuinely say I can't wait to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait. And as much as I don't need a sequel, I'm all in. But
and that's the fine line. It's the difference between, do you remake it or do you do a sequel? And I know we've been doing a lot more continuation stories, like with Ghostbusters and a few of the other ones we've done recently on the show. Mm-hmm. And I'm really glad that they went with a continuation story for this franchise.
And it makes it easier for us because now we have to just remake it.
Right.
There you go. Yeah. You got the sequel.
A sequel really is exactly what should have happened with this. A remake doesn't make any sense.
Scott, you're ruining the whole concept of the show here, buddy. So let's get on board.
Sequel to this movie, right? Coming next year.
So let's get to him. But before we do, let's hear that speech, that fantastic speech, one more time.
Good morning. In less than an hour, aircraft from here will join others from around the world. And you will be launching the largest aerial battle in the history of mankind. Mankind, that word should have new meaning for all of us today. We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interest. Perhaps it's fate that today is the 4th of July. And you will once again be fighting for our freedom. Not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation. We're fighting for our right to live, to exist. And should we win the day, The 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
Still to this day, I can't hear that without getting goosebumps.
He made my eyes rain. Okay, well, here's what we know about the sequel. So I guess we can tell you what the actual sequel that is coming out on, what is it, like June 24th it comes out.
You got it.
Yep. 2 decades after the first Independence Day invasion, which is pretty cool. It's timed exactly to 20 years. Earth is faced with a new extrasolar threat, but will mankind's new space defenses be enough? I'm guessing probably yes, but we'll go watch it anyway. We don't care. But we're here to remake it. So we're going to remake this movie right instead. And we're going to basically take Independence Day and bring it in to the modern era, 2016, whatever. And we're going to make it its own movie, a new movie, a modern movie with similar touches from the originals. Okay, so we are going to come to a conclusion of one complete movie, and each one of us does get a cut. So if 2 people agree on one concept, but the third one's like, no, I want my way, he can yell cut at any point, 1 time per episode, and he can make it his decision where the story goes. So everybody understands that rule?
Yes, sir.
All right. Who's got the first idea for a story for Independence Day? I mean, yes, I assume we just start with the aliens have shown up.
How else do you?
You're the one that's been touting it for like the whole time. Like, I got ideas. Why don't you start for a change?
Yeah, exactly. I don't have my ideas are terrible.
Okay. Scott, he's like, I give up. I don't even know why I tried. All right. Well, here's what I would say. Okay. The one thing that I was trying to find a way to improve upon, how is the world today completely different from 1996? Other than the fact that everybody's got a smartphone. Hopefully somebody could figure out this secret signal on their smartphone. I would prefer to have actual representation of other countries. Make it more of a global threat, because it felt to me like it's just America, which I know works to Independence Day, and you could still have the president as one of those main characters. But I was thinking,
Cinco de Mayo.
There you go.
I know it's not Independence Day. It's not Mexican Independence Day. Don't write a letter.
I was thinking like a Chinese diplomat, maybe somebody like a Foreign Legion, something like that. Having representation and actually having a subplot in a global arena, across the ocean, not just here in America. That's one thing I would do.
Are you going to have subtitles?
You could do subtitles, or you could do the little thing, what was it, Hunt for Red October did, where you start with subtitles, zoom in, and then English comes out.
I think doing that with one language makes sense. I think doing that with multiple would get way too confusing, or it would take you out of it.
Would it, or would it be easier to understand that's what we were doing?
It would make it easier to understand, but I think you would lose some of the authenticity when it would just be easier to do the subtitles.
All right.
But that would also turn off the target demographic for a movie of this caliber.
But let's think. We want to go global. See, the world box office is now a global thing. It's not like it was. It wasn't just America and a little bit of overseas bucks. No.
We are the world.
Yeah, now we are the world. So we got to think of landmarks that weren't destroyed that we didn't see. The Great Wall of China, boom, blown to bits.
That's a lot of spaceships.
I was going to say, that's not going to do a whole lot.
Well, just a couple sections. Just a couple sections. I know that wall is huge, but just a couple sections. What I thought would be cool is if, in this movie, they didn't know what the aliens' intentions were until they actually, basically blew everything up and they figured out the countdown. I would like us to think they are actually here in peace. Like they've communicated to us similar basically to how V did it, where they communicated in each language in those specific areas of the country and basically said, hey, we're here in peace, until they have everything synced up. And then they do their attack. That's what I would like. So Americans are completely off guard. It totally makes sense why they're not running like hell and they're not all already vacated the entire cities.
So just to be clear, you were upset that Independence Day ripped off V. So your answer to remaking the movie is to rip off V.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Got it.
Do
Just
it
want to make
better.
sure I was on the same page.
Do it better. If you're going to do it, go in deep, man.
Balls out.
That's right. Go balls out. Get out there and actually go for it. I think let's make the world think they are actually here for peace. So we calm down. We're not worried about it. We're like, all right, we'll work this out. And then all of a sudden, one guy has figured out the sequence that there is a countdown to destruction coming. He's having a hard time getting people to believe him.
I could see that, and especially you mentioned, I think Troy mentioned that, like, how would they coordinate all this? You know, which cities were major cities and all that. Mm-hmm. And our argument was, well, they've tapped into the satellite system. If they're tapped into the satellite system, wouldn't they know the language? If they're so technologically advanced, wouldn't they have figured out our language and be able to communicate with us and tell us that and say, hey, we come in peace?
Well, now they would have Google Translate if worst case scenario.
Babelfish.
Something. So that's my idea. My idea would be to take it more global, have different areas around the world that we can coordinate, and the president would actually be coordinating with, Chinese ambassador or something. Somebody,
maybe like a UN situation.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe that's the way you do it. I would like that, and I think it would be more representative of an actual global threat as opposed to just America.
Dude, let's do that, actually. Let's have the whole drama of it take place in the UN. Make it like a political thing. In the UN? You mean? Yeah, like all the characters that are dealing with this, like you said, from different nations.
Oh, yeah, that would work.
Are in the UN. So instead of having like the personal aspect like we got like on the American soil.
I thought you were saying it like the UN was the location. I'm like, you mean like put a ship over the UN building? I don't.
Well, eventually that would make sense once they figured it out. But I mean, this is where it centers. This
is like because they bring all your world leaders to the UN Council. We're going to have a meeting to discuss terms of peace or something to get all world leaders in one area. Mm-hmm. Troy, you're not talking, and you're like Mr. Heinrichs.
I'm thinking about how to take it full Heinrichs because...
Oh, God.
I love that he's using his own phrase for himself.
He enjoys it.
Let me put this out there, okay?
Uh-oh.
Because it's just such a great movie in its own right, and we haven't done this yet on the show, what if we were to take the name Independence Day, but have it mean something totally else? Okay. Like truly remake the movie into a completely different movie, but use the same name and have it mean something. Day. But with this, not like that, but in this case, it's still aliens coming to take over the world, right? It's the same plot
showed
concept.
Up to have love. Okay.
But there was a great TV show that was on. I won't call it a great TV show. There was a TV show that was on last summer called The Whispers.
Okay.
On ABC, and I thought it was just a brilliant concept, and it was really about how this alien by the name of Drill was kind of like a pre-messenger, which is kind of like we have with the alien that comes in Area 51. And Drill actually inhabits children's minds by passing through electronic devices, which we could play into the 2016 technology with like cell phones and things of that nature.
Yeah, totally.
And his purpose was to implant code and information into all of the kids. And then the kids would basically go to places where the ships would show up. And then that's where the attack points would be. And eventually you could say the Independence Day was then the kids turning on the adults because the adults weren't in on the game and the kids were killing their parents and things of that nature. So you could have Independence Day being the kids rising up against their parents.
So Troy's answer is to rip off a completely different show for this movie.
There are no original ideas left, Aaron. You know that.
Apparently not. Okay, well, here's what I would say. I would say you have to have the big blow-em-ups because that's what people want to see if they're going to see a remake of Independence Day.
And they have to be bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it has to be bigger, but you have to have that destructive, because that's the number one thing I think most people are going to think of when they think of Independence Day, where it blew up the cities and we all came together and we faced the threat, which is really, I think, what the theme of the movie is. If there's a way to work that in, I'm all for it, but I think you got to have that destructive element. I like the concept of manipulating minds, though.
I like the concept of using technology against us, like because that was kind of the aspect of the original was using our technology in the form of the satellites against us.
Maybe that's how they communicate with us, through our own technology.
So like they give us "We Come in Peace" and it goes to everybody's cell phones. Yeah,
and it's basically routes them to major cities for please come to major cities and we will share our cancer. We have cures for cancer. We can solve your ills, that sort of thing. Come to these major areas.
So they're actually drawing people to these areas.
Drawing more people in so they can
destroy more.
So they can make us extinct.
which is kind of the concept of another alien property, book, TV show.
Well, it's like every alien show.
Well, it was Childhood's End.
Never heard of it.
Childhood's End was actually a really interesting concept. Spoiler alert for those that don't want to know. But it was literally an alien, the overlord, that comes to Earth, and he promises, like, you'll be healthy, we'll give you abundant food, we'll do all of this stuff, because they could basically predict that the Earth is going to destroy itself in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And so they basically give them heaven on Earth, and the aliens don't reveal themselves to the humans right away, because the aliens end up looking like Diablo. So here you have this like godlike presence and this heaven-like utopia state, and then realize that it's the devil the whole time. It was actually pretty interesting twist.
So Troy threw out another TV show we could rip off.
That's exactly what you're saying. Like, it's completely this luring everybody into one place, and that's exactly what Childhood's End did. It lured them into this utopia, only to then, in the Childhood's End, it is to save humanity in the end, but we could flip that coin and say, oh, hey, now that we got you here, let's blow you up.
Well, I think when you're going to save humanity, that makes it like a super smart sci-fi thriller, and then it's just not Independence Day.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say that. It's like, the core is big, dumb, blow 'em ups, but it really is the core of that kind of movie. I mean,
and honestly, that's what scares me about the sequel.
What, trying to be too smart?
Yes, the trailer looks way too serious. I didn't see 1 ounce of humor in that trailer.
But if you go with the concept, like you were saying, it was them using our technology against us.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've adapted their technology, and we're going to use their technology to protect ourselves. So that's kind of why they come back, and now they've got better technology than we even have. So I think you kind of have to work that concept into the remake if you want to stay true to the original concept.
Yeah, I like that. So they come here, for our movie, and let's forget about the sequel again. Toss it aside. We're back to ripping off TV shows. So our concept is they show up, everybody's panicked, or I think this is where we're at so far. They manipulate our technology. Maybe I don't know how maybe they use satellites or however they do it. They manipulate the data so that it seems to us they are telling a message to the world. We are here in peace. Don't be scared. Calm down. It's okay. Come to these major cities for a unity conference or unity meeting between our people and yours. And also, we will send a representative of our people to your UN to discuss terms of peace. We would just like to work with you on, solving some of your crisis in exchange for help with your resources, so to speak.
It could be like a whole little video, too, of like, this could be a callback to the original film, the flag on the moon, we come in peace for all mankind. Mm-hmm. And there could be a shot of that in there, and like giving this imagery that's familiar to the inhabitants of Earth so that they kind of feel comfortable with just going ahead and doing this. Yeah,
because people believe everything they see. Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, all they need is a couple headlines and a few nice pictures, and they're like, oh, man, I'm on board.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on board.
Yeah, and then you can leverage the technology, right? Twitter starts trending. It's like Unity Day, Unity Day, Unity Day.
Boom. I like it. I think we're on. Now we're getting somewhere. Scott's like, I still don't want it.
I like them French fried taters. Mm. Can we talk about like the threat itself, though, being a little bit more threatening? In terms of like, if you're gonna remake this movie, like you said, you have to have the explosions of the monuments and stuff, but there's got to be something bigger associated with it, right?
Okay.
I guess my idea might not fit with your idea because we're actually bringing everybody closer. Because one of my problems with the original movie, it's not a problem, but all they're destroying at this point is the major cities, which is a good starting point, and they're going to invade after that, just kind of take out these big areas. But there's still like tons of there's millions of people outside of these major cities, right?
Well, and that's why it's a great idea to use technology to bring people in here.
Right, but you're also going to have those that don't follow it, the smart people. So what if
lazy people? There's a lot of lazy people too.
That's where you take it. That's where you take it to the step further, right? The people that have gone to the major metropolitan areas and are wiped out, the people that are left in the rural areas, not to say that it has to be rural, but the people that don't go to the major cities, maybe they have to realize, okay, we can't rely on our technology. We have to use like shortwave radio or some old school technology, something that's off the grid, Morse code, flashlights from the helicopters, blinking lights, some way to communicate around the world to different outposts to figure out how they can take down the aliens because they can't use modern day technology.
I just remember how dumb the name Welcome Wagon is. Sorry.
Okay, so I think we actually have a basic core concept, right? So we've actually figured something out. Look, we remade a movie. It can happen.
I'm genuinely shocked. I really am.
So Troy, take it from the top.
Okay, so aliens are approaching the planet Earth and send out a video text message to the world to say, hey, we are here, we do exist, we come in peace. They lure us into a sense of false hope. We come to the Unity Day where we come to all these major metropolitan areas and they attack and wipe out 80% of the population. The 20% of the people that are left, you have to figure out how to use old school technology like ham radios or Morse code
to communicate.
And then that gets the message out to the people that are left and how they can go ahead and actually fight back against these aliens, because instead of it all being dogfights in spaceships and fighter jets, it'll actually be more hand-to-hand combat on the ground.
Well, yeah, I think you still got to have, you still have like the air-to-air. You still have like military bases that weren't hit and that sort of thing. So there's still some opportunity for dogfights and whatnot.
Potentially, but this is where it gets interesting. So if you think about Independence Day was actually, when all this technology didn't exist back in 1776. So granted, we want to make it a worldwide movie, but it might be interesting to actually say, like, how would we do this, like on horseback and on, canoes and boats and things of that nature without any kind of, spatial technology things that would be out there, like airplanes or helicopters. It'd be interesting to see
what that idea, actually, like World War I style.
Right. You have to actually use like 1 if by land, 2 if by sea to do your Morse code and your helicopter lights.
Well, then you have to come up with a way that the aliens can be destroyed through those means. So can you figure out a way that it could be? Or would it be that you would have to wait until a ship landed from that point? Because you wouldn't need that big giant ship anymore, right? Because technology's advanced. Just like our phones, it used to be a big giant case of phone that was in your car, and now you've got this little tiny thing that has everything you ever need on it. So maybe the ships are just a little bit smaller, so they're less threatening, and they would actually land, and that's where people would on horseback or however, maybe horseback. No, I'm just thinking like it's a Western or cars or whatever they have, and they do it on land to take over that ship to get to a mothership.
Yeah, maybe they have to, like each segment of the population around the world, China, Australia, US, whatever, they're all fighting their individual land battles to get to the singular ship that landed in the metropolitan area, and they all have to get to the metropolitan area's main ship, and then they all can use that ship then to take off, and then with that ship go back to the mothership that's hanging out by the moon to blow up the mothership at the moon.
So we got motherships and mini motherships and then regular ships?
One mega ship at the moon, and then just the individual semi-mini ships. So there's no little ships. There's just like the big city ships. But they're not as big. They're smaller because technology is advanced.
I like going back to old school means to fight. I think that's pretty cool because it was a little too easy in Independence Day because they just had a ship handy. If you're going to remake it, use a different trick, use a different tactic. So when the ships land, they take it by storm and they coordinate it. So there's several factions. Maybe there's 4 subplots you follow throughout the movie. Like maybe America. So you got the president.
Like Independence Day is the 4th and the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Oh no!
Sure.
So you have 4 points of the story kind of conglomerating into one place.
Heinrich status. You have reached full Heinrich status.
Lord. All right. So then you got China, you have America, maybe Britain, and then, I don't know, maybe a 4th party of some sort. Whoever is the major economical resource, Russia. I don't know.
Actually, this would be kind of interesting now that you say the 4 areas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it'd be interesting to see if it was Russia, Brazil, what's the BRIC countries? Brazil, Russia, India, China. Like the U.S. wouldn't even be involved at all.
No, you got to have. It's
out.
called Independence Day. You got to have U.S. involved. You got to. I can't see any way you don't have America involved when it's called Independence Day. Plus, we got to blow up the White House.
Why Captain America got released in China first?
Right.
So bitter. So bitter.
Just saying.
No, I think you got to have Independence Day.
No, I actually am with you.
Yeah. It just. I mean, I like if you want to have India or one of those be the other, or Brazil. You can even have 3. You can have Brazil, China, and America. And the other ones are just like they were here, where they were just one shot of them taking down the big ship or a ship at the end or something. You have them go and take one of the ships on each one of those locations. And then maybe once they get the ship, once they take it on horseback or car, however they have to do it on land, they get the ship. Once it lands, they take over the ship and they pilot it towards the mothership. And all three of them actually head that way, but only one of them makes it to the mothership. The other two are shot down in a blaze of glory.
Now, is it a tragic ending? Do they die in their valiant effort to blow up the mothership?
No. They shake it loose, they smoke a cigar, and they fly back home.
That's right.
What do you think? You want it to be tragic?
Well, you still had the tragic death with Russell.
You can have a tragic death without everybody dying. Or are you talking about just like those that like save the day?
Yeah, just those two that are on that one little ship.
Oh.
You still have characters back home.
I'm actually okay.
I'm
Okay with that. I would just maybe put one pilot that takes, like one pilot, those three ships, they take it, they figure out a way, because the computer virus to me was kind of a dumb idea. So maybe they find the weapons in the ship that they have hijacked. Like maybe America gets the ship first, and they send the information to the other two that have gotten smaller ships. And they found out that there's weapons on board that they can actually cause the ship to explode. So what they're going to do is they're going to pilot to the mothership, get it docked inside the mothership, and then make it explode from inside the mothership, destroying the entire thing.
Right. Because then the question is, do you have to solve for get our heroes home safely or not? Or do you just say they're going to take it there, they're going to blow it up, and it's...
Well, I think if you do that, then that person, whoever takes it's going to blow up. They're sacrificing themselves. I think if all three from those different places try to get up there, but only one can get in, the other two can't get in for whatever reason, or they can't, and then that one is the one who sacrifices himself.
I don't like them not making it. We had plenty of tragedies. I mean, I guess we haven't talked about specifics in our remake, but the movie has plenty of tragedies. The heroes got to make it. Both of the heroes got to make it.
What if the person that pilots this ship that they take is kind of like the Randy Quaid character? Like he offers to do it because his life has just been nothing but a cluster.
So they're going to let an alcoholic go into the spaceship?
They're one shot at saving the world.
They have one of these ships. They're going to put Randy Quaid in it.
All right.
I just don't know how to get them home. I guess I'm at that point. I'm thinking like S.S. Wilson. How do you get the heroes home? There has to be some way to get them home.
Yeah, I mean, unless you do the same old computer virus thing, which is dumb the first time. I can't imagine doing it now.
All right, fine. What if
all three of them get into the alien spaceship, and in the matter of like, because to keep it hand-to-hand combat,
you can't have hand-to-hand combat on the mothership.
Well, you could, because they're in the mothership, right? They're docked the ships, they're prepping and planting the bombs or the technology or whatever, and then they're fighting off the aliens that are attacking them to prevent the bombs from blowing up, hand-to-hand combat style. And then one person actually finds another ship inside of the mothership that he can then steal and then shoot the other three ships as he's exiting out of the orifice or whatever. And then maybe he crash lands on the moon, and then we have to send up a rocket to go get him eventually.
Well, now you're just making it super complicated.
I think just hijack a ship and then bring it back. Can it be that simple?
That was the first movie.
Well, no.
No. They had one that crash landed back in the 50s.
Right, but they still were in the ship with a ship, and they escaped the ship with a ship. So I mean,
maybe we just do a different ship.
Maybe we just do it the same way.
Well, now we just changed. We were already almost done, and now that would be changing the entire movie again.
Well, we're trying to
kill
decide.
Him
we're trying to decide to kill him or save him.
I think you have somebody that ends up sacrificing themselves. That there's a bit of nobility to that. It's not I don't think it's a downer. I don't think Randy Quaid dying in the original movie was a downer. I thought it was extremely heroic. I didn't think the only one I thought was dumb was when Harry Connick Jr. died. I didn't think it was dumb that he died. It was just he died idiotically. You know, This would be dying a heroic death. So you wouldn't have your major star. You wouldn't have the president do it. You would have an ancillary character that was along for the ride. They would offer to take it up there. And there'd be like three ships because you'd have one from Brazil, one from China, one from America, all these characters we've been following. And we as the audience don't know which one is going to be able to get in until they get up there. So we're already rooting for three different people, but only one of them is going to sacrifice themselves.
And now we just ripped off Armageddon.
Well, you know what? Every movie's ripping off everything else. So.
Exactly.
Independence Day ripped off plenty of stuff. So when we're going to remake it, we'll just...
Truman. Make sure Truman gets that. Harry, I love you.
And then at the very end, there's somebody eating animal crackers off of our hero. Easy, Scott. That's what I would think. I would think that's how you solve that problem.
I think if you have 3 go up there, then one of them has to die in the process of getting the bomb set up, so that it leaves you with 2, and then the 2 have to debate who's going to stay behind to set off the explosion or whatever. And then the plane, and then you see the explosion.
Well, no, it's 3 different ships. It'd be 3 different ships. One ship from Brazil, one ship from China. So it's 3 different ships. So they're not on the same ship. They're 3 different ships.
But they all got to go inside the master mothership.
One of them has to get all the way in, and the other 2 can be distraction or diversion or something along those lines. But only one of them, if they go in, they won't be able to come out. And so maybe you think one's going to do it, and then it's got to be an American that sacrifices themselves. It's called Independence Day. And our American maybe goes in and sacrifices. Or maybe it's the Chinese person. I mean, it's equal opportunity.
Can I just say, too, that I love this whole idea of it being different nations coming together, because that was kind of the theme of the speech at the end of the first movie. It's like, it's not about what country we're from or, we have all these petty differences. No, this is people that normally don't get along banding together to accomplish a common goal.
Yeah, right. I think that could be great. Maybe we do it really cool, and for whatever country it's released in, it's that country's ship that sacrifices themselves. 3 different endings.
Well, see, that's where I was going. It's like you could do some kind of shot where you don't know who actually was the hero. Like the ship blows up and everybody's doing the yay cheer, and then it's like 6 months later or something, and it's got all the denouement stuff that you would normally do, and it isn't until like the final shot of the movie when you actually get to see who was the one that survived out of the 3.
Wait, how, what? Why did this just become Lost? What are you talking about?
We got to go back.
Well, because the 3 ships are identical, right? So the whole point is like if all the 3 ships are identical and you don't know which ship is actually going to get inside the mothership and blow it up, then it gets inside, blows it up, but you don't know which of the 3 ships it was. So you can kind of have that, mysterious of like who was the hero.
I don't want the 6 months later. I love the rah of the original. Like when everybody is rah, we did it.
But that's just it. We all did it, right? We don't know who the hero was instead of singling out the one person.
So it's a mystery?
I don't know.
It's not a mystery. It's a mystery until like the last like scene or whatever. The last camera shot
the hatch
of the movie
opens up of the ship and you see whose head pops out kind of thing.
Exactly.
Well, would we know by where the ship goes back to? Like if they go back to America?
Wouldn't that be like a bittersweet moment too? Because you're really happy that it's that person, but you're also sad that it's not the other 2 people.
I'm struggling with the ending. That's my problem.
Unless you get all 3 ships that they dock. So all 3 of them dock inside of the mothership, similar to how the first one did. Because they know they had to coordinate because they didn't know if one would be able to get in there or whatever. So they went in to arm a bomb, and then it was a matter of the plan was we'll all get out together, but they couldn't do it because for whatever reason somebody had to stay there to make sure that the bomb went off. And so you don't know who the 2 are that live until the ship lands.
Right.
Okay, it works.
Cool. And then those 2 would be in one ship. They would obviously, the 2 would go into one ship, or they'd take 2 ships out, whatever. And then the one that had to stay, that would be the only ship that was remaining. We'll just see the ships fly out, and then it goes boom, everybody's rah, and then they land, and then we find out as the audience, like who gave themselves, who is the hero.
Sure.
Would you rather do that than have that heroic moment where you see them sacrifice themselves?
I think it plays off more interestingly.
It plays off different than what everything else does, but I feel like this movie kind of does what everything else does in terms of, endings and things that just happen to work out. So are we trying to stay with the spirit of the original in that sense, or are we going to do something different?
No, I think that's good. I mean, they got to win at the end, and you got to have Independence Day. I think you got to have that speech. I personally think the speech is important. That was a big nostalgia moment. And
just make sure the PA's turned on.
Jeez. Okay, so what I've got, tell me if I got this right. Aliens come to Earth, but they're in ships that are maybe half the size of the original. So they're a little bit more manageable. They're less threatening. People aren't as panicked about them arriving. They're just curious or scared. We get a message through our own technology, identifying themselves as our visitors, saying, we come in peace. We're here in peace. We get 3 distinct nations or countries, Brazil? Is that what we agreed on? Do we want Brazil or Russia?
Kind of like Russia. If we're going to talk about things get blown up, wouldn't it be more fun to blow up the Kremlin?
It's true.
Yeah, because you can't really blow up the statue of Jesus Christ. That'd be kind of wrong.
Yeah.
Well, make a lot of people angry.
There you go. All right, so we'll go with Russia, we'll go with China, and we'll still go with America. I think if you still got to blow up the White House because that's a big Independence Day throwback. You just do it more awesome because now you got new technology. You can make it blow up Michael Bay style. Basically, so they say, please come in. We're going to have Unity Day. Everybody come into your major metropolitan areas where a ship is located. People start going in droves because they believe them. Then you've also got the president who goes to leave for a UN conference called by the visitors where they're going to have a unity rally, show them their terms, what they want for peace. In exchange, we'll give you the cure for cancer. We'll give you all the stuff you think you need and also bring all your leaders to this one area. President's not going to make it there in time because he's going to stay alive for our movie. The UN's going to blow up, kill all of our world leaders, except for the president. Also the White House, the major metropolitan areas, and all of those different countries. And then when you have all these ships overhead, you basically have a ground war where they're trying to take each one of these factions, these groups that we're following, is trying to take one of the alien ships so they can orchestrate a plot, which they're using Morse code for, to go back to the mothership and destroy the mothership, which would also bring down the smaller ships because they can't basically survive without that power source or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then,
sure.
Okay. I think we got a movie. I don't know. Is there anything I missed?
I'm shocked that we got this far, honestly.
No.
All right, well, I think we got a movie. Let's pick a director. Who's going to direct our masterpiece? Because Roland Emmerich's too busy blowing up other stuff.
Neil Blomkamp.
Okay, so Chappie.
Yeah.
And
District 9.
District 9, Elysium. That's pretty good. Who do you got, Troy?
I was thinking Justin Lin. He's already doing space stuff with Star Trek, so might as well.
I honestly have him on my list. I think in terms of the two, and Scott, I'm a huge Blomkamp fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think his movies are I haven't seen a lot of fun in his movies.
Yeah, it's a different tone than what this is going for.
Yeah,
so I don't have any problem conceding that. I was thinking more of the look. I want the movies to look like his movies.
I think Lin could pull that off. And he's a real fun director. I mean, he did some Fast and Furious movies. He's done the Star Trek movie now. I think he can handle it. And he can make it similar to the tone where it's close to camp, but also really just nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Who do we want for any actors? I mean, basically you can throw anybody out there. We've got
not
Russia.
Anymore. We got 3 different countries.
Yeah, you got Russia, China, America. If you got somebody for like a president or a captain in America, or maybe if you got a Chinese actor you can think of, or a Russian actor you can think of, or somebody that's got a good Russian accent, any of those. I had Chadwick Boseman for the president. Man,
I want him in everything, so I'm behind that. That's fine. President of the United States?
Not China. That would be weird. Troy, do you have any ideas for casting?
I was thinking for China, we could go with Zhang Ziyi.
Who's that?
I believe from Memoirs of a Geisha.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Yeah.
I could go with that. I was just Jackie Chan or Jet Li. It's all I know. Travis Finnell. I just saw him in a movie called Warcraft, which, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's the best movie ever made, but he's really charismatic in that movie. Like, it's just fun to watch, and I've never seen him before. I guess he's on a TV show called Vikings.
Yep.
You know who he is?
I know who he is from the Vikings. I didn't realize he was in Warcraft.
Yeah. Is he good on the in Vikings?
Yeah, he's really good on the Vikings.
Boom.
Ken Leung. That's his name.
The one you were thinking of?
Yeah. Ken Leung. You'll recognize him when you see him.
Oh, Ken Looney. Yeah.
Okay, we'll throw him in there too. He was also in Lost, right?
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, well, God, now I don't even have to ask Troy. He's already on board. Okay, well, I think that's going to do our movie. We do have 5 nostalgic moments that have to be in our remake. 1, they have to have the speech. Today we celebrate Independence Day. Same speech, better be good, Chadwick Boseman, but I think he can do it. You got to say welcome to Earth. Welcome to Earth. Destruction of the White House. Number 4, you got to have cigars as a victory celebration.
Mm-hmm.
And number 5, you got to have a 2001 reference somewhere. Hello, Dave, something like that.
Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Dave, whatever it was, yeah. Just got to have that 2001 reference in the movie because apparently that's cool. All right, well, you know what? I think we wrapped up our movie. I think we got ourselves a movie. Do you guys feel good about it yet?
A lot better than I did when we started this.
You still just want to see the sequel, though, don't you?
Oh, totally. Yep.
Can't
100%.
We do have a trailer for you. Wayne Henderson's going to put together a trailer. But before we do that, here's another clip from the original.
How did you do that?
I gave it a cold. I gave it a virus. Computer virus.
Are you telling us you can send out a signal that will disable all their shields?
That's right, just like they used our satellites against us. We can use their own signal against them. If we plant a virus into that mother ship, it's going to then filter down into all the corresponding ships below.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. Just how exactly do we infect the mothership with this virus?
We're going to have to fly their alien craft out of our atmosphere and dock with it. We can enter here, as shown in the satellite photos. We then upload the virus. We then set off some kind of explosion, which will disable it, and that'll disorient the smaller ships below, and that could buy it, I think, at least some time to take them out, take them down, do your stuff.
Such a great line.
Do your stuff.
I don't understand.
And I feel like
funding for something like that.
And I feel like just hearing that scene doesn't do it justice, because just looking at everybody's reactions, hearing him babble on, it's just so good, because he knows that like they think he's an idiot, but he's just gonna keep going. Well,
See, we're gonna fly this thing here. Everybody's like, "Brr."
And he does a thing like take his thinking cap off, whatever the hell it was. I mean, he's got all these little ticks and mannerisms and
to do your thing, to do your
your stuff.
Do your stuff.
So good.
I do want to say, you know what would be really cool, I think, is since our movie is more global, like actually has representation in other countries instead of just a quick shot of one, is when that speech is going on, Chadwick Boseman would be the character, I think, because he's be the president, giving that speech. You also have the other two countries, you have Russia and you have China, given a similar speech, but they show them while our president is talking, they show them giving their speech in whatever their language, they don't actually hear it. You'll see them kind of inspiring their troops the same way that he's inspiring ours. So it is very much a global feel as opposed to...
I like it.
Well, you could even pan it and do the subtitles and have them each do 3 parts of the speech.
Well, now that would blow the flow, don't you think? Or unless one of them could throw in there, you're going to live on, we're going to survive. Right. And then today would be our Independence Day. You could do that.
That would work.
That'd be cool. All right. I think we got a movie, guys. Now, how about a trailer? I think we want a trailer. This is time for the final pitch. Now, that's where we take all of whatever the ramblings we just came up with and put it into one cohesive movie that Mr. Wayne Henderson can present to you in movie parody trailer form. Take it away, Wayne Henderson from MediaVoiceovers.com.
Next summer, invaders from another world are coming to ours with one mission: destroy all life on our planet. Turning our own technology against us, these aliens will appeal to our basic human nature to seek peace. Believing their intentions are real, much of the human race will flock to a perfect trap, being wiped out in an instant. Those of us remaining will be forced to rely on our basic knowledge and skills to survive, eventually joining others from around the world in mounting the largest ground battle in the history of mankind. Mankind. That word should have new meaning for us all after this day. But we won't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. 3 conflicting countries will unite the world for our common interests. Perhaps it's fate that this will release on the 4th of July, and we will once again be fighting for our freedom. Not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation. We will be fighting for our right to live, to exist. And should we win that day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day the world declared in one voice: we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Next July, we're remaking our Independence Day.
Thank you, Wayne.
All right.
Yes, sir. Once
I'm
again.
inspired.
Nice.
I am inspired as well. to fight for the country, for the world. We're going to come together, united. That's going to do it, guys. What do you think? Did we nail it, or do you think you have a better pitch? Do you think you've got a better idea on how to remake Independence Day? It's a perfect time to do it. I mean, it's Independence Day almost. So email us your thoughts on this week's show, casting ideas, your short pitch, remake ideas, movies you want to see remade, to remakethismovieриght@gmail.com. It's remakethismovieright@gmail.com. We might mention it on your next teaser episode. Now, the teaser episodes are only available to subscribers. So if you don't subscribe, you won't see them because they're only in the subscription feed. Now, Troy, where can people find you?
You can find me talking about The Blacklist, NBC's fantastic, epic, sprawling show that is taking over the world over at theblacklistexposed.com. Or football season is just around the corner. So if you are a fan of the green and gold, the 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers, visit us at packersfanpodcast.com.
All right. And Scott Clark, where can people find you?
I host a show called The Gaming Outsider Podcast, which you can find at thegamingoutsider.com. We are a video game podcast that is very focused on our community. We actually offer pretty much any and all guests on the show. We try to rotate a new one each week and have a really good time over there. I also do The Hollywood Outsider with Aaron, so you can check us out at thehollywoodoutsider.com. Movies and TV news.
There you go. All right. And also Wayne Henderson, once again, mediavoiceovers.com is his website. If you ever need vocal stylings, vocal talent of voiceover, anything else, please check him out. He does great work. Mediavoiceovers.com. He does a trailer for every episode. He does a wonderful job, and he does it reasonably priced. So definitely check out mediavoiceovers.com. We do have a Remake This Movie Right Facebook group, as well as the Hollywood Outsider Facebook group. Look for either one of those in Facebook. Not just for fans of our shows, for anybody who wants to talk about movies, TV, etc. Feel free to hop on over there and join up. Twitter is at Remake Right, and also our website, remakethismovieright.com. That's going to do it for this episode of Remake This Movie Right. And remember, the next movie you watch, which is probably going to be Independence Day Resurgence, remember that it will get a remake someday, and only you can make it better. Take care.
Yeah, great. Now he tells me.
You're just randomly waiting to drop Independence Day quotes?
All day long.
It's so quotable. It really is.
So
I'm not
Look at me.
Jewish. Nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect. Look at me. I look like a schlemiel.
It's the White House, for God's sake. You just go up and ring the doorbell.
They want HBO to call you.